Hello, you're welcome to another interesting edition of Your Image, and this is the continuation of the topic we discussed last week, which is the future of public relations practice and the role of young practitioners. And last week, I had a number of guests in the studio with me who took their time to elucidate more on the role of youth in the country as far as public relations practice is concerned. We talk about technology. They talk about mentoring. They also talk about ethical issues that are very, very germane to the practice of public relations. And this week, the topic continues. I have in the studio with me young Nigerians, young public relations practitioners who are here to impart to the knowledge of public relations. From my far right, I have Rashid Damilari, student of mass communication.
Good day.
Polytechnic. Welcome to the program.
Good day. It's a pleasure to be here.
And Michael Jacob is also joining me. He was with us last week and is continuing with the conversation this week. Jacob, you're welcome to the second edition of the program.
It's nice to be here again.
Also, I also have a lady practitioner with me, though a student. Awa Ella Musa she's also a mass communication student. You are welcome to your
Good day, viewers. Nice to be here.
Rashid, last week some of your colleagues talked about technology.
Okay.
And integration of technology into the practice of public relations. Let's go to other areas, other allied areas of other element areas of public relations. What other areas do you think you young ones can contribute stupendously to the practice of public relations?
Well, thank you for the question. Firstly, I will need to commend the effort of the NUC to onboard mass communication into 7 departments, because if you ask an average Nigerian now, or what do you understand about mass communication, they'll tell you it's just for you to present on radio and television. They don't even know that public relations is part of it, and even there's no how you can do in the society, most of the organization, without working with public relation officer. We did really appreciate that. I followed the discussion last week when a young man was talking about communication. It is indeed a great thing, because we need to know that we are in the era of global village.
Yes.
That is, the whole world can be reached within a minute. There's no how we can do without the use of new media. But there are still other ways by which we can infuse into public relation. We can use the public relation tools. We have an exhibition.
Okay.
We have sponsorship. We have press release and all that we can use to project the image of the country. Fashion is another thing. Now let's talk about.
In what way do you think fashion can be brought in?
Okay, fine. Thank you for that question. I'll speak on the fashion and I'll pick on sports too. Okay. Now talking about the fashion, we can talk about the cultural heritage of Nigeria. Now we all know culture is the way of life. Despite the fact that we do go in line with the northern part of Nigeria, the way they dress and all that, we still have people that are a celebrity, that are well known in the society, that are still projecting the image of Nigeria outside culturally. For example, Bolanle Ninolo on Instagram. Okay. If you look at the man very well, he will always wear native attire to project the image of Nigeria outside the country. So talking about the sports aspect too, we have Aisha Oshoala, who plays for FC Barcelona, the female. So whatever she plays, people know she's from Nigeria. She's a black man. She's a black woman rather. And whatever she do...
And not forgetting Anthony Joshua.
And not Anthony Joshua, thank you for that. Anthony Joshua, look at him. So Anthony Joshua will go with our flag. That flag that you see with him is projecting the image of Nigeria outside the country. So we have a lot of things that the young outside there that can use. What we need to understand is the public relation tools and all that.
So meaning that all those people are brand ambassadors of Nigeria.
Exactly.
And it is the youth that you have mentioned are actually doing this. And
It is the youth. When you look at Anthony Joshua, how old is Anthony Joshua? I really do not know his age, but I know he's not up to 28. I know he's not up to 28, he's not up to 27. And if a young man like that can be projected the image of Nigeria outside, despite the fact that we were told that he wasn't born here.
Yeah, but yet it's still clear.
Yet it's still clear Nigeria. That has to tell you that he is a brand, he is an image maker.
Image maker?
Image maker. For him to have said it outside that he loves Eba, he loves egusi soup. That has to tell you he's projecting the image of Nigeria outside the country.
Okay. Jacob, let me come back to you. Other areas, what other areas do you think you people can come in? What other elements of public relations do you think you can explore to contribute your quota to the practice of public relations?
Okay, if you look at it very well, there are other branches of public relations. When you talk about public relations, you talk about community relations, you talk about customer relations, you talk about stakeholder relations. There are a lot of other relations that comes together to form the word public relations. So I think as young professionals, we need to look into those structures. We need to look into those structures of public relation. We need to look into community relation. Now, if you look at it in every community, if you look at the population, if you are to stratify every community, you agree with me that the structure of the youth are more than the adults. So if we infuse the youth into public relation practice, you would agree with me that they will be of indispensable element in community relations. If a public relation youth professional or practitioner who can relate with his community, with his immediate community, is working with an organization that is situated in that community, you would agree with me that there will be his effectiveness in practicing community relation will be on the high scale. So we can also look at youth, young professionals looking into community relation, relating with their community, understanding how they can relate with their community, understanding how they can use community relation to build the image of any organization. And we can also look at, like he said, we can also look at tools. What are the tools they can use? How can they use effectively? How can they use sponsorship effectively? How can they use sport effectively? How can they use celebrities effectively to project the image of an organization? In fact, if you look at it very well, you see that youth can easily relate with people than the adults. You understand? So I think that is one of another ways where that the youth can actually come in public relations practice.
You are still watching Your Image from the station, the future of public relations practice, the role of young practitioners, and you can also join the conversation on our social media, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and of course our Twitter handle. I still have young Nigerians in the studio with me, and let me go to our now. They have mentioned so many elements of public relations. What other areas, what other elements of public relations do you think you as youths, young practitioners can explore to also contribute your quota to the practice of public relations?
Thank you very much. I think I would like to shed more light on community relations.
Okay.
I mean, where the community where there is this popular saying that goes, charity begins at home. An organization cannot exist without its community. Without a community, organizations cannot exist. It is this community resources that this organization used to get some of the organization stuff and all of that. So it is very, very important for the organization to be good to the community. That's where sponsorship and partnership comes up. They should be able to sponsor community projects, provide infrastructure, light, water, and all of that. Because it is this same community that will project the image of the organization to the outside world. The community, the way the organization is situated, what has this organization done for this community? First of all, back to the community. You see big multinational organizations and the people are dying. Petroleum here and there, crisis and all of that. What are the organization doing to sort out this issue? So I think the organization has a very, very, very big role to the community. Young practitioners should be an intermediary between the organization and the community to be able to know the plight of the community and attend to them. Thank you.
And understanding their language also matters here. When you're talking about corporate social responsibility, I think the onus lies on the youth too, to understand their language. Is very important to understand that language so that you can
culture and
yes,
all
the
of that.
culture.
The culture.
Yes. Let me come back to Jacob. You mentioned culture the other time. Even the way you are dressed, you can also be a brand. You are a brand ambassador
of the country.
So
Yeah.
let's go to culture now, and let's relate it to the practice of publishing. These days, you see young Nigerians going into tailoring, and they're graduates.
Yeah, exactly.
And they come with different attires, different fabrics that are very beautiful, just like the one you are wearing. And you think this is part of your contribution to the image of this country, and even the practice, unknowingly.
Okay, like you said, yeah, truly, clothing, your clothes actually has a lot to say about you.
Your identity.
Your identity. Like people will say that the way you dress, that is the way you are dressed. In fact, when you see someone putting on Ankara, you know that this person is from Africa, and you can actually narrow it down. This person is a Nigerian. So in just one look, this person has preached a brand to you in Nigeria. Now, how can we now bring culture into public relation practice? Now, I think there seems to be an erosion of culture among our youth, and that is where we have problem when we have young practitioners coming into the profession. So I think young practitioners need to acquaint themselves with the culture and the tradition and the norms of the country where they are practicing. If they are practicing in Nigeria, then they need to acquaint themselves with the culture. If you look at it, you see a lot of people, most people don't even want to speak their dialect again. You see young youth don't want to speak their dialect again. In fact, you see people like, I think someone was asking me why my name is Michael Jacob. You see a lot of people, even mine was actually, I was actually christened that name. You see a lot of youth today who wants to change their name to an English name. So I think the young professionals need to actually see a way in which culture can be used in public relation practice. Let's use, for example, as you said, in community relations. If your publics are, so to say, are not educated, if, for example, an organization is situated in an environment where livers and dwellers of that community are not educated, and you need to interact with them as a PR professional, what do you tell them? Do you speak in English? No, of course you don't. In fact, when you go to them and you're putting on suits, for example, in a community where they are not educated, there is a barricade. It seems like there is a barricade between you and the people. In fact, your message to some extent has lacked credibility. If as a young professional you want to talk to a community and you're putting on your suit there, they want to see you in their attire. They want to see you speak their language. They want to see you relate with them. They want to see you feel what they are feeling. They want to see you saying what they can say. So as a public relation officer, practitioner, as a young practitioner, we need to acquaint ourselves with culture. And when we acquaint ourselves with culture, let's see different ways in which you can use that culture. I think I was in the eastern part of the country about some weeks ago, and some months ago rather, and I saw some dancing, some people dancing in that environment. I saw some youths going there to learn how to dance. Now, if such person find him or herself as a prayer practitioner, do you know that just dancing alone to the people can actually help you to communicate your message better as a prayer practitioner? So as young practitioner, we need to infuse culture, we need to infuse music, we need to infuse dressing, we need to infuse language into our practice. Even the food, we need to infuse it into our practice. In fact, these things are tools of public relations themselves.
Okay. Let me just go to Rashid there. Yeah, let's go to crisis management. We have a lot of crises around us in our communities, and the youth, to the best of my knowledge, and as far as I know, have roles to play. There is nowhere we have crises and you not find one youth or the other. And crisis management is one of the elements of public relations. How do you make judicious use of this element to solve crises in our society?
Well, thank you so much for the question. One thing we need to know is that public relations works with development.
Okay.
They work in line with each other. And if you want to speak about development to people living in a society or an area, you have to go to them. According to one scholar, Masha McLuhan, said that you have to go there, ask them what they need, rather than forcing something on them. So we have a lot of crisis management happening in the society. I think it is now a time that the youth needs to stand up and go in there and ask for what is going on within the society and look for a better way by which such thing can be curbed off. Now, we were talking about food the other time. I was opportune to be the president of the Ijebu Student Association in Moshuga Abela Polytechnic. Okay. when we wanted to do our 21st Ikokore Day and annual presentation, I went to House of Assembly in Ogun State here. Then I met with a man. When I met him, I said, I gave him our proposal that we want to do this and all that. And I listed rice as part of the food that we need to use on that day. And the man saw the heat and laughed. What do you want to use rice for as an Ijebu man?
Contradiction.
Contradiction. Are we really projecting the image of Ijebu here and diaspora? So I was shocked. I am telling you categorically that the person that handed over to me used rice. Even the three that handed over, they used rice. I became the first president that curbed away the use of rice during the so that's to tell you there is no way we can curb off our culture. And more importantly, there's no way we can talk about that we can do without talking about the technology.
Okay.
That would be, because one of the things to manage a crisis in the society, social media is one aspect that can curb it off, because virtually everybody now uses social media. And if you want to communicate to them, you use social media and all that.
Thank you very much, Rashid. And let me go back to Awuwa this time around. They have mentioned different elements of public relations in solving the problems, the crisis in our society. They mentioned corporate social responsibility. They mentioned the community relations. You actually mentioned it. They also talk about the stakeholders' relations. What other areas do you think you people can use, aside from those conventional ones you have mentioned? What other ones do you think you can make use to make your impact known in this practice of public relations?
Well, I think media is a very, very powerful tool for projecting the organization.
How?
Projecting the organization in a positive light through the use of mass media, the television. We could do that with culture. The same way we have models for advertisers, we could also have models for PR. I am a model. I can actually dress the community where my organization is situated. I can even put up a program, a community program, as a PR practitioner sponsored by me, bringing in the community and all of that. With that way, I'll be able to relate properly with the community. So the media is a very, very powerful tool. It's a way of, we can use the media can serve as an intermediary between the community, the organization, and the people. So I think the media is a very, very powerful way of projecting community.
We're talking about the future of public relations practice, the role of young practitioners, and I still have my guest in the studio with me. You can join the conversation, like I do say, on Go TV channel 100 and Star Time 113, and on DSTV channel 260. You can also follow Pr-Primus on our social media platform on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And let me go to Rashid once again. Having mentioned some of the conventional elements of public relations, having mentioned some of even the technology that you mentioned, there are certain areas that she mentioned the other time. She talked about the modeling. How relevant is that to public relations vis-a-vis young practitioners?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. The use of modeling in advertising it really helps a lot. And which I believe if you can cultivate that habit of having models for public relation as well. Because whether we like it or not, we have people that are opinion leaders, we have people that are opinion formers outside there.
Okay.
Most of these celebrities outside there, they can easily, through the use of social media, talk to their people. That is why you see it that most of them don't go to social media again, radio or television, to advertise the product. They just go to the celebrity and tell them. They just sign them. After they sign,
so some of them will meet Awuwa to come and do that for them.
That's really wonderful. So they go to their social media and post it there instead of going to the radio and television. So I think using the use of testimonials for public relation, it goes a long way. I need to tell you that it goes a long way, because people really do have an average Nigerian can use up to 25 minutes watching a celebrity while the way he's doing and all that, but can't stay to listen 5 minutes to what you want to tell him. So through the use of testimonial to pass a message across to people and building the image of this nation is a great thing. And more so, I think you need to start from an individual. I'm a model, he is a model, you're a model, you're a model. A model is a representation of a particular thing. we are representing Nigeria outside the country. I'm an MC. I anchor a program. I could remember when I anchored one wedding ceremony, and the husband and the wife are from eastern part of Nigeria. So then there was a day we were talking.
And were you able to speak Igbo?
No, I didn't. I didn't. But I spoke Yoruba language, and they was like, wow, Yoruba language. But I spoke the Yoruba language in a way that they will understand. Like now, when I spoke Igbo language. The Igbo language I spoke was that where it got to a stage that we were talking, and I told them, I understood Igbo language, Ebolachi. When I was young, I stayed with an Igbo people, and each time they wake up in the morning, they just say Ebolachi. Then I don't know the meaning of Ebolachi, but when I heard Ebolachi, they say Ew. Then I just decoded it. Then I was like, maybe they are trying to say, did you wake up very well? Then there was a time that I asked that, what is the meaning of Ebolachi? And they said they are trying to ask that, did you wake up very well? How was your sleep and all that? So the use of testimonials, the use of celebrity to back up in line with public relation is a good thing, which I believe it will help the image of this country. Not even a country, an organization, not even an organization, a product itself.
Okay, in a way of wrapping up the program,
okay,
your advice to young Nigerians out there watching you.
Well, this is my advice for the young Nigerians outside there. I need to tell you that this is our time. This is the 21st century that we have. We have the public relations. This is, when we're talking about public relations, it is not just, it doesn't end with creating image between organization and the public. Because when you ask them, what do you understand by public relations, they tell you to create an emotional understanding between organization and the public. Then ask the person, what do you understand by the publics or public relations? Then it ends. So we need, the youth outside there needs to dwell in more. They need to have a knowledge, in-depth knowledge. And I think that is the reason, that's why I support the issue of unbundling of mass communication into 7 departments. Okay. Because it will make us to have an in-depth knowledge about what public relations is all about. And I think there's a need for us to bring the practitioners who are already in the field to come back to use both theory and practical, to
integrate them together.
Exactly.
Okay, let me go to Michael Jacob, a quick one from you. What is your advice to those people? Because he said you are a model. So as a model, so what's the advice for your colleagues out there?
Okay, I think that young professionals need to go into 2 other forms of public relation that I think public relation practitioners are missing there. We're not finding them there. The first thing is political relations. Okay. We need youth in political relations. We need young professionals, young PR professionals in politics. There are a lot of candidates that need their image to be protected. So we need young professionals to go into political relations. We also need young professionals to go into religion relations. If you look at it, one of the issues that Nigeria is battling presently is religion. So we need young professionals, we need PR young professionals to go into religion relations. And if we can have influx of young PR professionals in these 2 key areas, I think there will be a new leaf in the profession itself.
And finally, let me go to the only Amazon in our midst, Awa. So what's your advice to your colleagues out there?
Like they used to say, practice makes perfect. I think that now that students are in school, they should start practicing. They should start working as PR practitioners. They should not wait till they are graduates, so that by the time they are graduates, they will be grounded, they will be well established, they would have had the adequate knowledge that is needed to practice well. So they should start from now. And I think if they start from now, by the time, the better for them, because by the time they round up, they'll be able to perform very, very well and be professionals. Thank you.
My guests have been Rashid Damilari, a student of mass communication from Moshood Abiola Polytechnic, Abeokuta. Thank you so very much for being part of this show.
It's really a pleasure to be here, sir.
And of course, Michael Jacob, they are models for Nigeria, they are brand ambassador of this country. Thank you very much, it's my pleasure.
It's wonderful to be here, sir.
And of course, the only woman in our midst, Awa Ella Musa, also a student of mass communication. She's also, of course, a role model to many people out there.
Thank you. Nice being here. Thank you very much.
Join us next week for another interesting Park edition of Your Image from this station. Until then, I say God bless my country, Nigeria.